We live in a world that's always online. Every call you make, every photo you scroll past, every video you stream, it all travels through a massive, invisible network of towers, cables, and data centers that never, ever sleep. But here's the uncomfortable truth: all that amazing connectivity comes at a cost. Right now, the telecom industry consumes about 2–3% of the world's electricity. And with the rollout of 5G accelerating, that number is climbing fast. So, the big question is, how do we keep the world connected without burning out our planet? This is the story of how telecom is going green. From smarter base stations and AI-optimized networks to solar-powered towers and virtual SIM cards. Let's dive in and see what sustainability in telecom really means. Every single time you watch a video on this platform or send a picture on WhatsApp, you're kicking off a long chain of energy use. It starts with your phone, then travels to the nearest cell tower, through backhaul networks and routers, and finally lands in a massive data center that hosts the content. Each step in that chain draws power. Now, multiply that by billions of users, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, across every continent. And here's the twist: 5G, with its denser network of sites and powerful antennas, is projected to increase energy demands by up to 150% compared to 4G. That's a huge concern, both for the company's operational costs and for the health of our planet. As a result, telecom operators are facing growing pressure from regulators, investors, and even from us, their customers, to slash their carbon footprint. So, what's the solution? We're hearing a lot about green networks. When we talk about green networks, we're talking about designing, deploying, and running telecom infrastructure that uses less energy, relies on renewable sources, and minimizes waste throughout its entire life. This isn't just about sticking a few solar panels on a roof, it's about completely rethinking the network's architecture. Green networks are chasing three main goals. First, energy efficiency, doing more with less power. Second, resource efficiency, using materials and hardware more intelligently. And third, carbon reduction, making a serious shift toward renewable energy and sustainable practices. Let's tackle the first challenge: energy efficiency in the 5G era. 5G is incredibly capable, but it's also a lot more power hungry. Take those massive MIMO antennas. They're the multi-beam arrays that give us incredible capacity, but they also consume a ton of energy, even when there's not much traffic. So, how are operators dealing with this? One of the coolest solutions is AI-based network optimization. Modern networks are now using artificial intelligence and machine learning to dynamically power down components that aren't being used, especially during low traffic periods like the middle of the night. For example, Ericsson's Energy Smart solution can deliver energy savings of up to 20% just by intelligently managing when cell sites go into sleep mode. They're also using what's called adaptive MIMO. Instead of having all antenna elements firing at full power all the time, this technology activates only the ones needed for the current demand. And it's not just software. Hardware is getting a major upgrade too. New generation radios can combine multiple frequency bands into a single, compact unit. These are lighter, more efficient, and can be up to 30% less power hungry than older setups. And in hot climates like parts of Africa or the Middle East, some companies are replacing traditional air conditioning with advanced liquid cooling systems, which drastically cuts the energy needed to keep base stations from overheating. Now, let's talk about the hidden giants of the network: data centers. These are the brains of the whole operation. They host core network functions, billing systems, and all our cloud services. But they are also massive energy hogs, mostly for cooling and computation. Here's what's changing. Major operators like Vodafone, MTN, and Orange have committed to running their data centers entirely on renewable energy by 2030. They're also getting smarter with cooling, using techniques like liquid immersion cooling, AI-driven airflow optimization, and even systems that reuse excess heat to warm nearby buildings. And by virtualizing network functions and running them on shared cloud infrastructure, telcos can reduce the number of physical servers they need, which cuts down on both hardware waste and energy consumption. It's no longer about owning huge server farms, it's about managing cloud capacity efficiently. Okay, let's move from the core to the edge, the cell towers themselves. Across Africa and parts of Asia, hundreds of thousands of these sites still rely on noisy, expensive, and polluting diesel generators. The good news is the industry is rapidly shifting to hybrid and renewable power. Many sites are now using solar panels combined with batteries, a hybrid setup that can reduce diesel use by 70 to 90%. For remote or off-grid areas, operators like Airtel and Telecom are deploying towers powered entirely by renewables like wind and solar. These sites are managed by AI-powered controllers that intelligently balance solar, grid, and battery power to maximize uptime and energy savings. According to the GSMA, switching to green-powered base stations can reduce CO2 emissions by a staggering 80% per site. That's not a small win, that's transformational. Here's something fascinating: the very architecture of 5 is helping with sustainability. With a feature called network slicing, operators can dynamically allocate resources based on the specific service. For example, a slice for simple IoT devices like smart meters doesn't need super low latency or massive bandwidth, so it can run on a lightweight, energy-saving configuration. Meanwhile, a high-performance slice for gaming or augmented reality can get more resources, but only when it's actually needed. This kind of software-defined control makes the entire network much more efficient, avoiding the energy waste that comes from over-provisioning. Even tiny innovations can have a huge cumulative impact. Take eSIMs and eSIMs. By getting rid of physical SIM cards, we're cutting down on the production, packaging, and shipping of billions of plastic cards around the world every year. Similarly, a new standard called 5 RedCap, which stands for Reduced Capability, is designed to connect low-power IoT devices more efficiently. Instead of using the full power of 5 for simple sensors, RedCap uses optimized, low-power radios. When you multiply those small savings across billions of connected devices, the impact is enormous. AI and automation are at the heart of this green revolution. AI isn't just for chatbots anymore, it's becoming central to energy optimization. Through predictive analytics, networks can anticipate usage spikes and adjust resources before they happen. AI can decide which base stations can go to sleep, which power amplifiers can run at a lower voltage, or when to shift workloads between data centers to get the best energy prices. Research from Ericsson shows that this kind of intelligent energy management can reduce network-level power consumption by up to 25%, all without compromising performance. Automation also helps reduce truck rolls, the number of times technicians have to drive out to a site. Fewer site visits mean lower fuel consumption and fewer emissions from logistics. Sustainability isn't just about energy. It's also about how we build, use, and retire network equipment. This is where the circular economy comes in. Operators are now adopting principles like recycling old equipment to recover valuable metals and plastics, and running refurbishment programs where old 4G radios are repurposed for emerging markets instead of being thrown away. They're also pushing for green procurement, which means working with suppliers who meet high sustainability and ethical sourcing standards. Even packaging is being redesigned. Ericsson, for example, uses smart, recyclable packaging that can cut logistics emissions by up to 40%. And this isn't just talk anymore, it's all being measured. Telecom companies now publish annual ESG reports that's environmental, social, and governance that detail things like their energy consumption per site and CO emissions per gigabyte of data. Many are setting ambitious, science-based targets to align with the Paris Agreement. For example, Vodafone and MTN Group are aiming for net zero operations by 2040. These aren't just pledges, they're tied to investor confidence and regulatory compliance. Of course, the road to green telecom isn't perfectly smooth. There are still big challenges, like the high upfront cost of converting sites to renewable power. The sustainability of batteries themselves is another concern, as lithium-ion production has its own environmental footprint. And in many developing regions, unstable power grids make it harder to integrate renewables. The future of telecom is all about being sustainable by design. This means every new radio will be built to automatically optimize its energy use. Every new site will be designed for renewable power from day one. And every software upgrade will be judged by its impact on energy consumption. In fact, early discussions around 6G already include sustainability as a core design principle. The question is shifting from how fast can we go to how efficiently can we connect. Ultimately, sustainability in telecom isn't just about cutting emissions. It's about building a more resilient, innovative, and responsible industry. Because a truly connected world must also be a sustainable one. If we get this right, our networks won't just connect people, they'll help heal the planet, too. If this video gave you a new perspective on the hidden world of telecom, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find it interesting. In my next video, I'll be exploring 6 and the sustainable network revolution to see how the next generation is being built with our planet in mind. Until then, stay curious, stay responsible, and keep your network and your mindset green. Thanks for watching.